Hi everybody and welcome to Secret Sessions, Ask the Expert. My name's Kate Hutchinson and I am the founder and managing director of the Secret Event Service. So what are the Secret Sessions? So Secret Sessions are a series of talks that we're going to be giving you access to, which will give us the insights to what experts are doing in our industry and around our industry to better upskill us, to create momentum, to engage and ignite our audiences. And I'm very proud today to have our first guest, Lisa Clifford. So Lisa Clifford, for those of you who don't know Lisa, is a high impact trainer, speaker and coach who has worked with the likes of the British Armed Forces, Lloyds Banking Group, Intercontinental Hotel Group and Tesco. Lisa first came into my life after speaking at a SmartWorks event that I was involved with, and I was wowed by her high energy, thought-provoking knowledge and her ability to ignite people. So welcome, Lisa, and thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm loving being in the hot seat.
Well, it's great to have you, and I know that the things that we're going to talk about today are just going to massively impact and benefit people from listening to, so thank you very much. So Lisa, first things first, describe the impact that you have without giving away any of your secrets.
Whoa. Okay. Where do I start? I help people get really clear about what they really want in life, which is massive. It's not something that people want to consider on their own because it takes courage. So whether it's in a company, whether it's in a one-to-one, I help them get really clear on that and get really connected to their purpose and potential. So when I've worked with sales teams, them getting clear on just how powerful they are without teaching negotiation skills, helped one particular company increase their profit, their targeted profit, by £6 million within 3 months of the training I did with the sales team. God. And that's additional profit. And so the sales director had asked me to come in because we were just about to go into that renegotiation period. You know, that where the procurement directors and the buyers are sharpening their pencils, they've done their negotiation courses, and then the salespeople have to go negotiate with them. And the salespeople don't want to lose the business, they don't want to push the price in case they lose a contract for the company. And so ultimately, they're almost paralysed into keeping the rate the same or dropping it down. So my brief wasn't to teach them how to negotiate because they'd already done those courses. They're already equipped to do it. They just needed the belief in themselves to do it. And I spent one day I did them in groups of 25 so I could get right into the hearts of them. And over 4 days, I saw the whole sales team and I helped them see for themselves their own incredible potential. And we've all worked for bosses that have said to us, oh, you need to believe in yourself, but being told it doesn't activate it. But when you experience something, without giving away what I do, but when you experience something, you can't deny just how powerful you are. And with that, how you then inject what you do with it. And that's how the sales team grew the profit, because they believed in themselves, which is everything.
I think that's so interesting because I think you're totally right. There has to be a balance between the stereotypical, I need to upskill my team, send them on a course, they need to have this knowledge base, and then actually seeing that come into action. You know, the reality is, I was giving the girls in my team an example the other day. We had their professional development plans last week, and one of the conversations that we had at the time was I told them both to read The Compound Effect last year. Have you read The Compound Effect? In fact, I think I sent you it, didn't I?
You did send it to me.
Have you read it?
I'm reading it.
Well, you need to read it because it's so good. But what's incredible about the compound effect is it gives you that buoyed up energy to do the things that you need to do to make the 1% changes. But then I read The Atomic Habits straight after it, which is another book of a similar feel. And Atomic Habits talks about the psychology behind what you need to do to action in order to actually make the 1% changes. So the two combined suddenly made a massive difference. But if I'd have just read The Compound Effect, I'd have been buoyed up for a couple of weeks and then gone, oh, well, I don't really know what I'm doing with it, and walked away. And if I'd just read the Atomic Habits book, I would have not really got into the swing of feeling that power. I'd have understood the psychology, but I wouldn't have had that power to be able to implement it. So I think the two combined, then all of a sudden create an energy in you. And I can see that, well, I know because I've worked with you.
One of the things that gets so underestimated in businesses is belief.
Yeah.
It's almost pink and fluffy and woo-woo. It's just the power of belief when somebody has it in a correct way, where they're not undermining themselves. And then when you see what happens when they don't have belief, and yet they've got the ability, they've got the skill, but they just have the belief in themselves, the results are entirely different. And so belief is something to be ignored at peril. But the wise companies are all over it. They're all over it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important for us to touch on, given the circumstances that we're all currently in. You said to me, and I'm sure you remember saying this to me, that you actually started your business in the last recession. And when you started your business, you were incredibly successful from day dot, basically. And you were incredibly successful because you refused to allow the circumstances around you to impact your own belief in yourself and your abilities and in your capabilities as well. So talk me through that, because that's something that I think we all need to hear about at the moment.
Yeah. So I'd been self-employed for a year, decided to split up with my partner at the time and move to York and start my business from scratch in York, having only really been trained for a year in what I'm doing. And then the recession happened and all over the news was decline. And in my heart, I just thought, oh, I cannot afford to believe that I'm going to lose my business, because that meant losing my home that I just bought. I just got myself a big mortgage to look after. It meant losing everything that I'd worked for and also my dream. So I thought, I can't afford to believe it. I didn't watch the news. I didn't watch anything that worked against my belief, because I was just on my own. I needed to hang on to every cell of belief and protect it. And then I also thought, but it's not true that nobody's spending any money. And it's not true that nobody wants to develop themselves. And so I thought, I'm going to create intention and be the athlete I need to be. No, I don't look like one. Be the athlete, a business athlete that I need to be, with the mindset and the discipline to attract those people that need me. Because in a recession, they're going to need me to be on my game, not needy, not desperate, and not grasping, but focused on it with belief that there's plenty of business. And I also continued with my £10,000 a year investment in my personal growth or professional growth. I didn't stop it, even though we're in recession, investing the money in deepening my knowledge. So I ended up earning in my business much more than I ever did when I was employed, more than double when I was ever employed, and 3 times more than I'd done in the first year. But I knew that my belief and where I put my focus would determine the results I got. There was no two ways. I couldn't afford to deviate from that, because deviating from that meant failing.
Yeah.
And failing meant losing my home. Then where would I live with 2 golden retrievers? Who would have me then?
You know what? I think that's really, really interesting, because obviously I've been on a similar journey in the last year. You know, when I'm not going to say the word, when 2020 took the turn that it took, I'd been in business at that point for 18 months. Yeah, 18 months. And it'd been steady away. It'd been all right. We'd been doing okay. We'd been slowly getting a foot in the market, but I'd been frustrated by the growth. You know, I thought, much like I think a lot of entrepreneurs do, I thought, be a millionaire within 2 years. Sorted, cracked on.
And you will.
I will be now. That growth taking its time really frustrated me. But actually, funnily enough, I look back on that time now as a blessing, because I think if I'd have grown too quickly, when the situation changed, I would have been screwed. There's no two ways about it. I would have just been screwed. So actually being small was a benefit when the situation changed. And being small enabled us to adapt quickly. And now we seem to have really come into our own. We've got a high energy team. I actually took on a member of staff in September, which was a massive risk because we'd only just started to gain revenue again after 6 months of just no income, basically.
Can I just say something about, from my point of view, what I witnessed was you stepping into, right, I'm going to use this time to review, reevaluate, refocus, and create a vision.
Yeah.
And then you, with all your discipline, commitment, and focus, created an amazing business plan. I've got nothing to do with this, so I'm not talking about any help I gave you. You did this yourself. You created an amazing business plan. You raised your motivation. You were inspiring in your focus on it and also your belief in it, because you'd done the work. You created the vision, you created the plan, you made the plan match the vision, and then you aligned your belief in it, and then you committed to it. And so it's absolutely of no surprise to me whatsoever that you're enjoying this really fruitful time. Not to mention that your ability and skill to deliver the events, and I've been on the receiving end of one of your events, the amount of attention to detail that you gave to me as the speaker coming in, it was lost, and the care you gave to me and everybody, and how you had it all covered in a really seamless way. So you're a recipe for success.
Bless you, thank you. That's very kind.
I hope you keep that in.
That is very, very kind. And I think there was a change in belief. I was really burnt out at the 18-month mark because of the slow growth and because of the constant changes. And I was reticent to make big changes in our offering. You know, I did spend, there is no doubt about it, and I've been quite honest about this, for probably the first at least 8 weeks of lockdown 1, staring at a wall, watching on repeat things about TV shows about moving abroad. I'm saying to my partner, we can buy this shack in Italy, right? And it's like £5,000. We've got £5,000, so we could do it now. It'd be right. And literally, that was where I was at for some time. And then it was quite clear that the situation wasn't changing. But it was that refocus that ignited a belief in me. And I really couldn't have done that without the conversations that we were having at the time and the work that we did. Yeah, it really was transformational. It really was.
Well, you know, we were both in the same boat, really, and impacted by it, numbed by it. So it was very symbiotic. And you were so focused. I mean, it was athletic, and you are now reaping the rewards.
Well, hopefully so. My belief for 2021 is that we are going to have the most incredible year. We are going to see high growth and we are going to really step into our own power. And I believe it because I can see it in action already because of the moves that I made in Q4 of 2020. But actually, when I started to make those moves in Q4, I was making them without any proof. I was making that change in my belief without any proof it would work. I just had to, exactly like you talked about, focus in and just say, no, nothing is getting in my way. This is what I want. This is my aim. This is what I am putting out into the universe. And this is what I'm pushing for. And actually, in an incredible and insane way, it became reality. And now when I go forward with even greater beliefs beyond what we were trying to push for in Q4, I'm going forward with this stronger belief that what I'm asking for will come true.
Yeah, because you've got it's trust, it's self-trust and faith. You're putting your trust and faith in yourself.
Yeah.
And you've got proof that you tried something you've not done before and you've been successful at it. And also you could have failed and you didn't, but you could at the next thing, and you know you'll be all right. You could be hugely successful. You know, you still did it even though you knew you could fail. That's what I think courage is, and what I find is inspiring is when somebody goes for something. You know, there's a saying, isn't there? Living life with risk is like jumping off a cliff and growing wings on the way down. And that's exactly what you're doing each time that you take a leap of faith in, right, I'm going to pivot with this, I'm going to try this new offering, I've not done it before. And it sounds as well like very wise not to overshare your vision and your dreams with other people, because they often impact it with their doubt or their limited thinking. So you have to have to pick the people you speak to really wisely, because remember what I was saying at the beginning about protecting every cell of belief matters.
And I think as a startup founder, I think that's really important, because when you first start, often you're very lucky in that a lot of people are willing to give you advice, support, and just their 2 pence. And you feel that you need to take on everybody's advice and everybody's support and just be grateful for what you're being told. But actually, you have to be very, very careful, because you can be given exactly what you've just talked about. When somebody gives you their 2 pence, they're giving it based on their experience and their limitations and their belief model. And if their belief model is of a low standard, for want of a better word, then that's what you think that you're capable of based on what they've told you. And you need to remember what's important to you and take the things that are right and fit with your vision of belief and your vision of your future, but ultimately disregard a lot of the things that people are telling you. And I think that's something I didn't hear enough, was you don't have to listen to that.
Yeah, you don't have to listen, and you don't have to follow it, because it's probably true for their lives, because it's their belief.
Yeah.
But there is also, it can sound isolating for, well, then who do entrepreneurs talk to? And they can be part of accountability clubs, but they can also be part of networking circles where there are people that are highly successful in it. They don't have to be successful in what you do, but they're like-minded people. And there's another saying, which is, how do you expect me to fly like an eagle when I'm surrounded with pigeons? And it is our responsibility to go and find where the eagles fly, and try and keep up with them, than to try and be an eagle when you're surrounded with pigeons.
Love that. I absolutely love that. Well, thank you so much, Lisa, and thank you for talking to me today. You know how incredible I think you are, and I love working with you.
I need one person to. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.